Good morning, welcome to our Sharing Turning Time. We are up to Perek Chov Gimel, where Klal Yisrael is having their last shot, where Yeshio, the righteous king, Yeshio, the child king, he went and he repaired the Beis Hamikdash, and they found the Sefer Torah. Either it was a new Sefer Torah they found, a hidden Sefer Torah, or the Sefer Torah was open to the Teichacha, and he got the message. And they went to Huldah Navi. Huldah Navi told him the prophecy that because he's righteous, it's not going to affect in his lifetime, but the Gezerah is still on. And instead of throwing in the towel, Yeshio was inspired that afilu cherev chadam unachas al tzavarecha al tisya'ish min harachamim, and that they were going to do whatever they could in order to change the Gezerah. So what did he do? Yishlach HaMelech ve'asvu elev kol ziknei Yehuda v'Yerushalayim. He gathered around them all the elders of Yehuda and Yerushalayim, and he made this humongous, huge matzav. Vayal HaMelech Beis Hashem. The king himself went up to the Beis Hamikdash, which he repaired. V'cholish Yehuda v'chol Yoshvei Yerushalayim ito, and all of the people of Yehuda and all of the dwellers and all of the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him. V'hakohanim v'anaviyim, the priests and the prophets, which according to Chazal was Yirmiyahu, Tzfanyo, and Uriah ben Shemayo, v'chol ha'am l'mikoton v'ad godol. Everybody from the nation is Bal Yadar, from the youngest until the oldest. Vayikra be'ozneim eskol divrei sefer habris hanimtza bebeis Hashem. So this kol sefer habris doesn't mean the entire Sefer Torah, it means the entire Teichacha, it means that entire portion which was found when they opened up the Sefer Torah, and he shared with the people the message, and he shared with the people the impending doom. Vayamod HaMelech al ha'amud, and the king stood up there on the platform. Vayichros es habris lefnei Hashem, and he renewed the covenant. Laleches achrei Hashem, that everyone is going to follow in the ways of Hashem. V'lishmor mitzvosav, to guard His commandments. V'eseidosav eschukosav, b'chol leiv, with their entire hearts. V'chol nefesh, lihakim es divrei habris hazoros, to uphold the words of this covenant, which is written on this book, and everybody accepted upon themselves to uphold, to keep their part of the deal. And now that he got everybody on board, he commands Eschilkiyo HaKohen HaGadol, Veskoyhane HaMishnah, which were the Segana Kayanim, the Eshomrei Asaf, which were like the officers which were in charge of the, like the keys and all of the different household maintenance. And he told them, La'oitzi meichel Hashem, eskol ha'kelim la'asuyim l'ba'al u'la'sheira l'chol tzva shemayim. All of the vessels that were used, tashmishe Avodah Zarah, he had them all be removed. And not only did he remove them, Vayisrefem chut Yerushalayim b'shadmois Kidron, took them by the Kidron Valley, and not only did he burn it, v'nosas afaram beisel, and he took it to the place where the Avodah Zarahs were, where the idols were, and he had them humiliate or disgrace it by spreading these ashes on top, on the Mizbeach which Yeravam ben Nevat made back in the day. So it's very interesting because he was going back to the original source of all of the problems. That means Yeravam ben Nevat is the founding of this quasi-religion which was going away from the ways of David HaMelech, and here, generations later, the original prophecies were being fulfilled, where Yeshayahu was going to literally take apart everything that Yeravam built. V'hishbis es hakamarim. This is, if you want to know where kamarim comes from, a koimer, like a priest. V'hishbis es hakamarim. He abolished the kamarim. Asher nosnu malchei Yehuda. Vayekater babamos. Vayekater babamos ba'ori Yehuda umisi be'Yerushalayim. Now, what's interesting here is that Yeravam ben Nevat is the beginning of the Malchi Yisrael. And here, now that there was no Malchi Yisrael anymore because they were already exiled, so in a sort of way, Yeshayahu is now really, he reigns over the Malchi Yisrael as well. Not that it was literally his kingdom because it went over to Sancheiriv, but at least, he was able to do whatever he wanted over there, to the point that he was able to go and take apart Yeravam's bamos and Yeravam's Avodah Zarah. V'kater babamos ba'od Yehuda u'musi be'Yerushalayim. He abolished everything. V'asamakater ba'Baal, those that were worshiping the Baal, Hashemesh, v'layareach, to the sun, to the moon, u'lamazolos, to the constellations, l'chol tzor Hashemayim, all the hosts of the heaven. V'yotzei asu asherim mibeis Hashem michutz Yerushalayim. He took the Asherah trees, or the Asherah Avodah Zarah out of the Beis Hashem, out of Jerusalem, and Nachal Kidron, and he did the same thing over there as well. That Vayisref also, Benachal Kidron, he took it to Nachal Kidron, Vayodek la'ofar, he ground it into dust, into dirt, until it became fine ash. Vayashlech esafaro al kever b'nei ha'am, and he spread it on the graves of all of those of the Avodah Zarah who worshipped in their life.
Afer.
So again, it's dust.
Why is it called Afar? Afer.
Right. Right. Vanochi Afar ve'Afer. Dust and ash. Ayito, it says Botei HaKadeshim. So now he goes next level and he destroys the Botei HaKadeshim, which are, either it means the houses of prostitution, which was like also part of the worshipping the deity was prostitution, or it means the Botei HaKadeshim, those which were dedicated for the Avodah Zarah, Asher Bebeis Hashem, which means that they actually, in the Beis HaMikdash itself, they took certain rooms and they used it for Botei HaKadeshim. That's what it seems like. Asher Hanoshim Oirgoi Shom Botim Lashera, where the woman over there would make curtains in order to honor the Asherah, which was the female deity. We spoke about it before. So he took all of the Kehanim which were from Zerah Haran, and they also became Ovdei Avodah Zarah to Ovdei Abal, and he brought them to return them to Tshuva. And again, he destroyed, or he pulverized, the ones that were on the gateways, that when you came in, it was on the left side. And even though they returned and they repented, he still penalized them, that they were not able to bring Ketores anymore. They were docked from the Mizbeach Hashem Yerushalayim, and they weren't able to bring any karbonos, but they were still able to eat in the kachim, which means even though he didn't allow them as a consequence, he didn't allow them to bring karbonos anymore, but they were still able to have the rights of a kohen, which was to eat from the karbonos. Then v'timias hatoifes asher begei ben hinom. If you want to know where the word Gehenim comes from, this is one of the most horrible things, that the Moilech was situated down in a valley which was called Gei Ben Hinon. And that's where, I found it very interesting, that's where, right, the bottom of Arnesim, that's called the Gehenim. This is the Gehinom Valley. And the Gehenim
is a valley.
A valley. Gei Tzalmobas. So the Gei Ben Hinom, that's where the word Gehenim originates from. And it was in this valley that they had the Melech. And like we discussed already many times, that the Melech was a deity where it was like a cow, and it had its both hands outstretched. And when somebody would bring his child for the Avodah Zarah, lahavit b'noi l'moilach, like we saw Menashe did, the priest would heat up the inside belly of this cow deity with the outstretched arm. When it got hot enough, they would place the child on. The parents would place the child on the hands, and that's how they would sacrifice their own child. And the priest would beat with drums in order to drown out the cries of the child. So that's what's called the Timeas HaToifes. There would be Makem Boy Betoifim, in order that the father shouldn't. So that was the Timeas HaToifes. Those were the instruments they used to drown out the cries of the child. That he was Mavaza, and he defiled. Asher Begehenna. Now, not only that, I want to come back in a moment to just a new chiddush about Avodah Zarah, but first let's finish this. There was another Avodah Zarah that they had where they would ride horses against the rising sun. So there was like this ritual where as the sun would rise, they would ride horses as a way to honor the rising sun. So he took those horses out of commission. And the chariots he burnt in fire. So basically he took every single type of Avodah Zarah that was in use, and he defiled it or he destroyed it, and those that were in charge of it, he took them out of commission. He did a total makeover on the whole system after he inspired everybody that they should return back to the way of the Derech Hashem. And there was Mizbechos that was on the Gag, on the roof of Aliyas Achos, Asher Asu Malchei Yehuda, in the house of Achos, Asher Asu Malchei Yehuda. Now, I don't know if it means that Achos actually built it or it was done later.
Achos attic.
Right, but it was done later in the attic of Achos, because you had already Chizkiyahu, who already took away those Avodah Zarahs. But there were Mizbechos that were built later on the attic of Achaz. Es ha-mizbechos asher asa Menashe, v'shtei chatzres beis Hashem. All of that nosatz ha-melech, vayodet, mishom v'hishlich es haforim al nachen kidron. Destroys it, pulverizes it, defiles it, disgraces it. V'sabomos asher al pnei Yerushalayim asher miyamin lahar ha-mashchis. He's calling it also b'loshen gnai, har ha-mishchas. Right, har ha-mishchas, he's calling it har ha-mashchis. So this is interesting, like you're finding in the words of the Navi, how they were taking a standardized used words, and they were a play on words. It was like a militza on words in order to be mevazah. Then instead of calling it hara mishcho, they went to hara mashchis. Shebanu Shlomo Melech Yisrael la'ashtaros, which we learned already earlier, means that he was responsible because of his wives that built it. For the ashtaros shiketz sidonim, which was the shiketz, which was the abomination of the Sidonites, v'lichmoish, which was the god or the deity, which was shikutz moyav, v'lemilkoim, which was the Avos Bnei Ammon. Timei HaMelech, he defiled them all. This is the first time we're finding this lashon of Timei HaMelech, because it wasn't only that he destroyed it, he was much more into defiling it and humiliating it and removing any type of power or honor or respect that people had for it. He filled it up with the bones of people, which were the Avodah Zarah. He took out of their graves their bones, and he filled it with bones, which was a fulfillment of the original prophecy. We'll see in a moment. He took he went all the way back to the source of where all the problems came from. And here is where the story comes full circle, that if you remember back in the original story of Yerav ben Nevat, there was this prophet who came to warn him, and that prophet was warned not to go and eat over there, and then there was a false prophet who convinced him to come eat, and then the true prophet died, and he was killed by a lion, and then we had that the false prophet felt bad, and then he went back over there, and he had him be buried over there, and he himself was buried near him. That whole story back in the beginning. Vayifen Yoshio Vayaras Hakvarim. Suddenly he sees there these monuments. Ashesham Bahar Vayishlach Vayikaches Vatzamos Min Hakvarim Vayisref Al Mizbeach Vayitameu Kidvar Hashem Ashekor Esho Lekim. Which was back when Vayeravim that the Navi told him V'zovach Olecho Es Kohanei Abamos HaMekatirim Olecha V'atzmes Adam Yisrfu Olecha. So that prophecy was fulfilled now. Asher Koras Advarim Oela. Vayomer, so Yeshayahu HaMelech asked, Ma'atzion Halos Asher Niraya, what's this monument that I'm seeing over there? Again, it wasn't in any graveyard. It was like in a random place. It was in the place where he was killed by the lion. Vayomer Elav. Chazal say that it was like on one side there was growing thorns, and the other side there was growing hadassim and besamim. So he said, was this a tzaddik or is this a rasha? What's happening over here? This kever is from Idoi, the prophet Idoi, Ishu Alekim, Asher Bo Yehuda, Vayikras Advarim Ha'ela. He prophesied those things, Asher Asis Al Mizbeach Beisel, which you did on that Mizbeach in Beisel, and the kahana were burnt there, and you put all the bones of people over there, everything. This is the tzion of those of the Isha Lekim, together of the true prophet and the false prophet. When he heard this,
what do you mean the true one?
Because there was the false prophet who came to Idoi and he told him that he should come back to eat and he should come back for a Suda, and that's what actually caused him. But the false prophets later had Chadalta. But Yomer, so the king heard the whole story. The people who were there wanted to take out the bones from the false prophet, because he was the one who caused Idoi to get killed, so why in the world should we leave his bones over there? So the king said, Vayomer, he said, Hinichuloi, leave the bones of the false prophet to be there as well. Why? Ki ish al yona atzmoisav. I don't want anybody to move the bones of the tzaddik. I don't want anything to get touched over here. It was also in a way that because both were together, that established the story that people knew. That means if you would take away the bones of one of them and you only have one left, then the whole story doesn't have a foundation anymore. When the whole story was a story with the Idoi, and then there was a false prophet, schlepped them, and they're both there, it establishes the story. It also could be that could be because he did tshuva, or at least he had charata. You see in the end of the story, it could be that's why he stayed over there. But regardless, it established the trueness of the original prophecy and everything that came to be. So it was like a divine revelation when you saw it. So the bones of Idoi saved the bones of the false prophet, that they should stay where they were placed.
They didn't want to disturb Idoi.
Right. וגם כל בתי אבומוס אשר בעודי השומרין אשר עשו מלך ישראל לחכס הסר ישעיהו ויעש להם ככל המעשים אשר עשו בבייסל, same thing, destroys it, pulverizes it, bones, disgraces it. ויזבח את כל כהני אבומוס אשר שם על המזבחos, he killed all of the כהני אבומוס וישרף את עצמוס אדם עליהם ויושב ירושלים, and he returned back to Yerushalayim. So we've been going through here we've been going through, so both in Shmuel and Melachim, so many of these, it's like everything here is about, most of the time people are serving Avodah Zarah, this way, that way, so many different Avodah Zarahs, and you see this is the bulk, and it's almost like after, Chazal say that the Yitzhak of Avodah Zarah, and that Chazal took away the Yitzhak of Avodah Zarah, and we learned already in the last year from Menashe, how Menashe told Rav Ashi that if you would have been in the times when I was by Avodah Zarah, you would have lifted up your cloak in order to run even faster, and you can't judge previous generations based on the way the standards become today. But I think there's like a practical message. What's the idea of Avodah Zarah? So I went on Aleph Beta from this Rabbi Foreman. He has a lot to say about Avodah Zarah, and he has a book called The Exodus. The Exodus you almost passed over, something like that. He talks a lot about Avodah Zarah and what the idea behind it is. So basically what goes on is like this. The concept of Avodah Zarah, we just have to understand what's the idea of Avodah Zarah, whether we have idols today, literal idols, or figurative idols, but we just understand what the psychology behind idol worship is that when a person in the world tries to have control, you try to control things in life. Whenever you come to a space where you can't control, you don't have an element of control. So, out of fear, because you just have fear that you're vulnerable and the higher powers can do whatever they want with you, so you go to those powers and you make like a shmor li ve'eshmer loch. You go into like, if I'll take care of you, you take care of me. So you go to this deity or to this power and you say, look, I'm going to provide you what you need, and you make sure you got my back. So when you wanted to go to battle, you used to go to the war of God. You needed water from the Nile, you used to want fertility, you used to go to the fertility gods. And basically, because you have no control. Even today in the world of, like, it's one example, every single nation, it didn't make a difference whether it's from Africa all the way to Canaan, every single nation, all of them had fertility gods. Every single one of them. Why? Why this god that everyone has? Because fertility is something which everybody experiences a loss of control. You have no way, like, how can you control this? So that's the space where everyone was desperate, and then you would go do whatever it takes to get what you want. So basically, it's not only that you're operating out of fear, it's also, you're really not here to spread a mission that this deity, it's not submission to the deity, it's manipulation. Exactly.
It's doing Peter, the opposite of
yichud. It's manipulating the universe to get it's selfishness, it's manipulation which stems out of fear. Self-centered. I'll do whatever it takes to draw you and that I should get what I want. I mean, the Havdul, it's like when we go and we say, okay, I'm going to provide you ich geben days in order Bunachayim Azoyne. That means, what's the end goal? The end goal is Bunachayim Azoyne for mich. It's powers. It's a power. And the joke is that the God is the one who creates all of the deities and all of the powers in the universe. It's a lihim achayrayim. It's a likada likaya. It's right. Now, Masha'enke in monotheism, which is what Avraham Avinu and what the original and what Judaism is all about, and the essence, is that the whole story of the Bible is that God's saying, I want a relationship with you. And the relationship is that Hashem says, I have a mission for the universe. There's one universe. I am all. I am it. I'm creating the whole game over here. And I have a mission. I want the entire universe to experience Havaya Echad, to be in a loving relationship with the God, to spread goodness and kindness. It's like as if you have a boss in a company and he hires you, right? He's hiring you because he wants you to join into his job description or to his mission statement. Today, it's very popular. Every company has a mission statement. They have klolim of why am I here? Every huge company, there's like, if you go lahavdul to Elon Musk, you say, why am I here? So he would say, I want to spread, technology, or he wants to get rockets to the moon. He wants to accomplish certain things. There's a why. So when he's hiring somebody, he wants you to buy into his why, to come join me in my mission, which is to spread a certain concept of goodness or kindness or innovation in the world, in the universe. Now, grad, if you're going to join in my mission statement, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you. You'll have whatever you want. But it's not the game. The purpose is not that you should be busy with your Avodah Zarah in order for your own personal benefit. And so you're coming to work for me because you want money? So you're doing my whole mission just because it's all about me? So that's where the darkness of Avodah Zarah comes in. In the real monotheism vision of Avraham Avinu, it's about, we're here for the purpose. We're here in Avodah Zarah. We're here for the reason of why Hashem wants the world to have a dira b'tachtonim. He wants everyone to experience the goodness and the kindness. He wants everybody to enjoy his bria in a way which is godly, in a way which is unified. So the Avodah Zarah concept is the exact, it's mamish the game of the bria. It means whenever you go to Avodah Zarah, you're falling into a self-centered hole where you're saying it's my yeshus, it's about me, and yes, I serve any idol that's going to serve my purpose, and I could manipulate it in order to serve me. It's about me. That's why you're not allowed to have bomos in your backyard. Because again, it's not about your person, it's not about you. It's about the vision, it's about the why. It's about bringing the bria from going into what can I do to what, it's going out of what could I do? Or how can I manipulate the system for myself into why are you here? It's like in Lubavitch, they have this ma'aseh where somebody came to the Latania's Yartzeit was yesterday. Alter Rebbe, and he came to him and he said he needs ABCD, he needs, I don't know, he needs whatever his laundry list of needs were. So he said, was du darfst, weißt du zu fragen. Aber was me darf dir, fragst du gar nicht. Was du darfst. Right. Ask not. Ask what you can do for the country. It's like, was du darfst, weißt du, was it's about. Aber was me darf dir, betst du gar nicht. So that's really the name of the game of Avodah Zarah. So anyway, Yeshayahu goes and he eradicates all the Avodah Zarahs once and for all, to have an agenda-free world where everybody's here for Hashem's agenda, which is ultimately everybody's real ratzon and real purpose is in order to make the world and to join in on Hashem's game. Because when you mevatel your yeshus, you have the tainug, the infinite tainug of Kaviyachol, what Hashem has, that He's making the world into a dira b'tachtonim. V'itzav HaMelech es kol ha'am le'emoir, asu Pesach l'Hashem alekeichem ka'kosav ha'sefer bis hazeh. So he brought back this humongous carbon Pesach experience, let's call it. Ki le'nasek ha'Pesach hazeh mimei ha'shoiftem asher shoftu es Yisrael. There was never such a Pesach because the Malch Yisrael, Yerav Menavot, never let anybody come back, and it fell into the whole establishment of the Karban Pesach fell into like disregard. V'chol yimei Malch Yisrael and Malch Yehuda ki im b'shmoines Yishana Melech Yeshayahu. Nasa Pesach Hazeh Hashem Yishlam. You can imagine and visualize what that Karban Pesach looked like that year when they brought everything back and everybody came again to connect Hashem Echad. וגם עשה אויבויס, ועשה ידוינם, ועשה טרפם, ועשה גילולם, ועשה כל השיקוצם, אשר נראו בארץ יהודה בירושלים, all of the different idols, all of the different deities, all of the different statues. ועשה כל השיקוצם אשר נראו בארץ יהודה בירושלים, בו ביאר יושיהו, למען הוקם את דברי התורה כסובים על הספר, אשר מוצא חלקיהו, הכהן בית השם. And he listened to every single word that it said in the Torah. There was never before him such a king. Asher shavel Hashem, they returned to God. That's where we get the lashon. Right, like in Kriyashma. He actually did it. What it says. And after him, there was never anybody who served with such a dveikis and such a shleimus like Yeshayahu. But even after Yeshayahu, after everything he did, God did not return back from Charoin Ape Agodol Ashechora Ape Beyehuda Al Kol HaKa'osim Asher Echisu Menashe. All of the purposeful, like all of the purposeful antagonizing, in-your-face behavior, specifically from Menashe. Oh yo, vayomer Hashem gamas Yehuda Asir, and Hashem said, gamas Yehuda Asir, I'm going to exile Yehuda as well. Alponai kasher Asiruis Yisrael. Same way is the Bnei Yisrael were exiled from Sancheriv. Umo'asti aso'ir azois asher bacharti es Yerushalayim. And I'm going to distance the city which I chose, Yerushalayim v'sabayis asher amarti, in that house which I said, Yesh Mishom. So this is very, very like disturbing that you had such an amazing king like Yeshayahu, and then at the end Hashem says, sorry, tshuva not accepted. Chazal say that even though Yeshayahu was a pure king, but the people still found ways to screw the system that they had, like they used to, whatever, the inside of the doors, they used to have an Avodah Zarah. When the kids, they had a whole setup how they used to, behind the doors, they had a whole setup how they used to beat the system. So even though Yeshayahu was a pure holy king, but deep down, there was still ingrained in the, subconsciously, it was already deeply ingrained in the patterns of the people that they played the game, but in the end, people always come back to say, but what's in it for me? How am I going to screw the system and how am I going to manipulate that the tzaddikim and the sgulas and Hashem, everyone should serve me and give me my banachayim azoyna, that I'm going to give and do whatever. That's always, if you want to know really the debate of going to kibbutz tzaddikim or not, and what was like the whole debate about, and what was the whole taina, it was like not going into that zone where you're going to the tzaddikim and you're saying, okay, Rabbi, tell me what you need and take care of me. Instead, it was like the original chassidim of the Shonim. It's like you go to the tzaddik and you say, I'm here for the purpose, enlighten me what I need to do in the bria, that I should be able to team for the zach. And yes, in order to do it, gegangen, so zan shefer. But you know why I want the shefer? That I should be able to do my mission, and I should be able to spread it to all the people of the world. I should be able to do goodness and kindness. It's about you. Right? That was like all the limud, like the holy matich of it. It was all about like, Eibishter, when the people are asking for panusa, what do they want to do with the panusa? They want to put tefillin, and they want to be mechanech their children, and they want to give tzedukah. It was always the hamshacha that the tzaddikim are always focusing is that the vada we have to give Yidden should be banachayim azoyna in order that we should be able to do your mission statement. But that's ultimately the goal of the entire message of the whole Torah is come back and do the job description for what Hashem intended it for, and by the way, I'll take care of you. And Avodah Zarah is mamish the fakir. In the end, the tragic end was that b'yama v'alapare nechoi, he was a crippled padre, Melech Mitzrayim, a Melech Ashur, al Nar Piras, and he's going up on the way for the Piras River. Euphrates, Vayelech HaMelech Yeshayahu L'Krasa, and Yeshayahu goes to greet him, and he didn't want, not to greet him, he's going to stop him, that he shouldn't go through his land. Vaymiseyu, and Paro Nechei killed Yeshayahu b'Megiddo Kirois Oisei when he saw him, and he saw that he wants to fight with him, he killed him. And that was the tragic, if you remember on Tisha B'Av, one of the kinnis we have is about the untimely tragic death of Yeshayahu with the last hope. And Yirmiyahu said, L'Mitzrayim al-Chel Paro Nechoi, Melech Mitzrayim asher hoyo al Nar Piras b'char kimish asher hiko Nebuchadnezzar Melech Bavel. Tata v'yayoyim ahu l'Hashem tzivokos yoyim nekomo l'inoke mitzarav. And that was the end. Vayikivu avad of Meis Megiddo. They brought him Yeshayahu dead from Megiddo. Vayivu Yerushalayim yikbiru b'kvurosei. They buried him. Vayikach es haaretz es Yoachaz ben Yeshayahu. Vayimshichu. They took his son. Vayamlichu oisei tachas aviv. And they anointed him, or they appointed him instead of his father. And he goes back into the same ways. Anyway, he took him a prisoner. They locked him up because they took him before his older brother, and he made this fine for them, like a knas, mea kikar kesav, kikar zav, and they go back into the old way, that the second you become needy, and you go into the Avodah Zarah zone, that you need things, and you go to manipulate the deities in order to get what you need, you end up being more needy. And you mamshach tzimtzum. Vayamlech pari nechoi, es al Yokim ben Yeshayahu. So now there's like an appointed king, like a proxy king. Ben Yeshio, Tachas Yeshio Ave, Vayasev Eshmo Yoyakim. Ve'ez, they called him Yoyakim in order for everyone to remember that Pare was the one that was Yoakim, that anointed him to be king or appointed him. And Yochaz was taken as a prisoner to Mitzrayim and he dies there. That's what happens when you're needy and you think that you're going to get Shefa by being needy, so he ends up again sacking everything, taking away from people, taxing them in order to buy out. According to the command of Paro, he had everybody, he evaluated everybody what they need to give, and he taxed them, Ishke Erko, according to what he was able to have. Nogash as a kesef as a zovas, Amaoret, Los es lepar nechei, Benesim v'chomesh shono, Yoyokim b'molchoi, v'achas as a shono malach b'Yerushalayim, Hashem imo ezvuda vas pedoyam en rumo, Vayas hara b'nei Hashem, kichol asher asu avoisov, and here is more or less where the final hope that the Jewish people had with Yeshio came to a bitter end. Chaim.